In April of this year, Asmongold did an interview with World of Warcraft game director Ian Cataclysm. Despite the main topic being towards the new retail expansion, Dragonflight, they touched on the future of Classic after Wrath concludes, asking the big question, where does Classic go next? Here's what was said about it.
Next thing I was wondering about is the, what do you think is going to happen? Like now Wrath of the Lich King Classic coming out. Obviously, Wrath of the Lich King is going to run its course. Then what?
Yeah, so at this point, you know, I'd love to hear from you, from the community as a whole, what you want to come next. I think we're gonna have, we have a player base that really has made Classic.
They're gonna do Cata. I'll tell you, they're gonna do 3 things: Classic Cata, Classic Wrath Era, where you can just continue to play Classic Wrath in perpetuity. You can keep farming Shadowmourns and whatever else you want, and then also I think they should restart the vanilla TBC cycle again. So you have another 5-year vanilla TBC Wrath cycle, the trilogy. You have Classic Cata if you want to do that, and then you also have Classic Wrath Era. You have all 3 options. I think that's what they should do. That's what they should do.
Stuff is on the table, but I really welcome that discussion now that the fact that we're doing Wrath is, you know, no longer the world's worst kept secret and actually something that's known, but we're listening.
In short, what do you want to happen? And the other day, the first big step towards answering that question has been sent out. A survey. As per usual, check your Battle.net email to see if you were a lucky winner. The survey is massive, so today I'm going to try and go over the most interesting points. Starting off with a bomb and straight up asking what's next as a totally open-ended question. You have to imagine most of the answers here would be Cata or Classic Plus. I know, and I do read it quite often, that a lot of people didn't like Cata for various reasons and want to treat the end of Wrath as the end of Classic, which is fine if you want to do that. It is a game and you play the version.
I'm going to say this again. If you're one of these people that's sitting here behind the keyboard going, I don't like Cata, so they shouldn't do it. You are just as much of an annoying weirdo as the people 3 years ago saying they shouldn't do vanilla. There were people 3 or 4 years ago saying, well, I don't like vanilla. I don't think it's very good. It's all nostalgia. So they shouldn't do it. It's like, listen, if you don't like it, don't play it. I'm not a big Cata guy either. Like, I don't give a shit about Cata, but it doesn't harm you in any way for them to do Cata. Some other people like Cata. Okay, whatever. Let them have their fun. It is what it is.
You like, but Blizzard isn't gonna just go and close this whole thing down a few months after Arthas goes down. Cataclysm had a low of 9.1 million active subs, and Mr. Pandaria had a low of 6.8, for example. If 10% of that are active in the Classic version, by today's standards, that's a very large MMO and a very successful one. Also, the whole point of the survey is to find out what people didn't like about Cata and how it could be better. If you have no intentions of playing it, either way, it kind of doesn't really matter. As for me, if you watch the channel for a while, you'll know I actually quite like a lot of things which Cata does. Most notably, I think to this day it has the best opening tier of raiding that's ever been done in World of Warcraft, which was tier 11 in Black.
It wasn't a bad tier, dude, and then Firelands was actually pretty fucking good also.
Blackwing Descent, Bastion of
Firelands
Twilight,
was
and Throne
good.
of the Four Winds. Firelands was also a lot of fun. But at the same time, maybe we don't need to copy everything that Cata did now that we're taking a more some changes route for Wrath. Maybe even extend that to loads of changes for Cata or beyond. Maybe enough to call it Classic Plus, perhaps. Next, we have a breakdown of the core features added in Cataclysm. I'll take a pause and read through these as a bit of a refresher of what actually happened back then. A few comments I have here is on top of playable races, there were new playable race and class combos such as Undead Hunter, Tauren Paladin, Gnome Priest.
The whole Tauren Paladin thing, that still fucking bothers me to this day. 12 years later, I'm still mad about that.
Troll Druid,
I don't
and
like
so
that.
on. They
I don't
added
like
archaeology as a secondary profession, which felt as though it was kind of not overly.
Why? Because I'm racist towards cows. Are you like, hello? Because those cows shouldn't be fucking doing that. That's why I don't like it.
Too well received.
It's that simple.
I remember it being incredibly grindy and slow, and I just never bothered with it. You could get some really cool stuff with it though, like epic weapons such as Zinrock, or even mounts like the fossilized raptor. They mentioned rated battlegrounds here in Cata. I feel like that's a free win for World of Warcraft whenever it's added to the game, and a lot of people would have liked that feature even if it was in Wrath. The biggest points which people...
Dude, if they ever do vanilla again, Just give us RBGs in vanilla. Get rid of this shitty ass degenerate ranking system and replace it with RBGs. Do that in vanilla. That's good. They should do that. That's cool.
Didn't like would be the world revamp that changed Azeroth significantly, as well as LFR. Streamlining the talents is also up there, I think. And by the way, it wasn't just reducing talents from 71 down to 41. Now you had to fully spend 31 points in a tree you picked before you could explore the other 2 trees. So outside of your talent tree of choice, you only had 10 points left, which was considerably more restrictive than Classic, TBC or Wrath was, where you can do just about anything you want. One comment I have about this is that talents throughout Classic so far have been pretty standardized, as there are certain good builds. You can probably even tell me what the good builds are for your class. And a huge part of what made the old talent trees interesting is that they changed very often with each major content patch.
Did I see S-Fan push against Arams during the interview? Thoughts? Yeah, we watched it. Yeah, no, they should. That's a very smart take. They should take the XP bonus off of heirlooms, put them on a tabard. Yes, 100%. There should be an heirloom tabard with upgradable XP bonuses, 100%. That's a very smart decision. What was the other comment that I wanted to take a look at? I forget. Okay, never mind.
Sometimes in between each major content patch. Blizzard did specialization reworks mid-expansion back then. This doesn't happen for World of Warcraft anymore, and it certainly doesn't happen in Classic. I bet the vast majority of players copy-paste a build off a website whenever it comes to PvE or PvP. Also, if they remove the restriction of having to spend 31 points before you can access the other trees, it would...
Yeah, that's probably true. Most people never really actually even look at their own fucking talent trees. But just because most people are fucking NPCs, copy-paste NPCs, does not mean that... Like, I love to theory craft little weird specs. Like, depending on what weird type of gameplay I'm doing, I'll use a weird niche spec because it's, like, slightly better. I like how creative you can be with the talent trees. But yeah, it's true. Most people are fucking copy-paste NPCs, very true.
With the restriction of having to spend 31 points before you can access the other trees, it would totally revamp everything that is known about Cata class design. Just something to think about. They also say Cataclysm had quality of life such as AoE looting. I think that was the Mists of Pandaria pre-patch. Spell alerts for procs. I've literally installed an add-on which already does this to the game for Wrath. It's called Classic Spell Activations. It's pretty cool. If you play a class with procs, you should check it out. It also had things such as transmog, so your paladin can wear that tier 2 set forever, as well as the guild system, which was yeah, interesting.
The guild system is obviously objectively fucking dog shit. I'll say this though, if they're gonna do Classic Cata, they should offer the retail style transmog and collection system. The Cataclysm style transmog system was actually really annoying and terrible. If you're gonna do transmog, just go all in on the transmog. Just make it better. Yeah, make it better.
Remember the cesspool spam invite guilds which just wanted you to join so they could skim gold from when you quested, but then you kind of did want to be in any guild at all because you got bonus XP, you got mass summon, you got mass res, you got access to new heirlooms. They were kind of good at the same time. What about Tolbarad? There's no way that doesn't end up being a battleground like Wintergrass will be, by the way. Does anyone...
Going from 2 years of Wintergrasp right into Tolbarad was like the biggest letdown, man. Tolbarad like sucked fucking dick. Tolbarad was so bad compared. It was like a lifeless, shallow husk compared to Wintergrasp, compared to the based Wintergrasp, which was so fun.
Anyone else remember standing with a raid group on the bridge to the entrance of the zone, and when the battle was about to end, you ran in and you still got rewarded as if you'd been in the entire battle? What an absolute fiesta that zone was. It was fun though. There's lots of changes. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. The survey then goes on to ask how interested you would be in playing the next Classic expansion. Not even Cataclysm per se, just the next expansion. Paying attention to the wording here. And then based upon those
Tolbarad was better than Wintergrasp, but changed my mind. You don't have a mind to change. There's nothing there.
Previously listed features from a very interested to very uninterested. If there was ever a survey that I wish I got, this would be the one. Can you just put a poll booth in the game that redirects people to the survey or something, Blizzard? You mentioned considering it a while ago. That would be great. Moving down to the next section then, it asks people to select the most and least liked aspects of Cataclysm as an expansion, from class design changes, Tolbarad, PvP, reforging, unified raid lockouts, and loot. account-wide mounts and pets, as well as minor quality of life changes towards the bottom. Next, the options are listed again, where the person taking the survey can elaborate on why they like or don't like something. We've not had the chance to do anything other than tick boxes so far in surveys for Classic, so this is pretty cool. Now the next bit is interesting, so it asks you to pick a color from the list. Depending on the color you pick, you're then asked a different follow-up question. I suppose the goal here...
So this is some, like, I looked into this actually. This is some, like, psychological test. Does anyone remember the name of the test? That depending on what your favorite color is or what color you choose, you will be more likely to be agreeable towards like spicier concepts or less spicy concepts, right? So if you're picking like red or black, then you're probably more agreeable to more change. And if you're picking green or blue, you're probably less agreeable to change. It's actually like kind of indicative, yeah. And so that's why they do it this way.
Ask a different follow-up question.
It's an
I
actual
suppose the goal
psychology
here
thing.
is to randomize answers a little bit. As in, if somebody who is super into changes saw a pro changes option, they're going to pick that, but they won't know what they're getting here and could pick something which is really anti-changes. How will that affect their answers? Will it be consistent? Will it be different? At least that's how I read into it. Some of the options have been shared, including a very pro changes one here, such as an expansion that retains some pre-Cata features that were streamlined or simplified. You have to imagine this was linked to the talent rework. Excluding LFR, this is
pseudopsychology. Listen, I am wholeheartedly throwing in with pseudoscience. I do not believe in science. This is a pseudoscience stream. I just want to make that very, very clear. Yeah, mainstream science, I disavow. Pseudoscience, I completely am all in with.
practically a given. If there's no LFD in Wrath, there is no LFR in Cata. The level cap being raised to 85. I mean, I guess the new zones have to be there for something. 2 new races in Goblin and Worgen. I always thought the new Cata races looked kind of goofy, to be honest, but I thought the new race class combos were cool. The survey then goes on to ask why you like or dislike those things, as well as how it would affect your perception of Cata as a whole. Finally, at the end, the last question: which of the following most closely aligns with what you would want as the next expansion of Classic after Wrath? A no changes Cata, seasonal servers for the expansions we've already done, some changes Cata, don't know, or none of the above. So I will say that the overall options push you more toward finding out what the player did or did not like about Cata and how it should be changed to make it a more appealing experience.
Gabussy.
I know for many of us for a long time, we've wanted Blizzard to fully explore the idea of taking Classic in a direction that Jagex has done with old school RuneScape in doing Classic Plus. This would really begin at the end of Wrath the Lich King, I feel, and would aim to take the game in a different direction by creating new content in the style of the Classic game. Some popular examples of Classic Plus ideas are a Scarlet Crusade raid, a Furbolg theme raid, opening new endgame.
I don't want a Scarlet Raid. I want to be able to disavow the Horde and the Alliance and join the Scarlet Crusade. I want a Stormwind raid where you join the Scarlets and then you raid Stormwind. You purge the heretics, you purge the infidels that are residing in Stormwind. You spread the crusade across the land and you kill all of the non-believers. That's what I would like to do.
Game zones,
I want to join the
idea
crusade.
of expanding the talent trees, and so on. World of Warcraft and old school RuneScape are very different though, not only for the obvious reasons, but World of Warcraft's content is delivered in a much more vertical manner. We outgear and outlevel things really fast in WoW, and then they're just not relevant again. On old school RuneScape, content can remain relevant for a huge range of players for much longer. Basically, they get way more mileage out of updates than I think a Classic Plus ever would. And for World of Warcraft, there's loads of content from the future.
RuneScape gearing is very, very cool, where even if it's like a super old piece of gear, it's still very situationally relevant. Like there's always a time where you might want to Darok, or there's always a reason where you might want to be wearing a fucking Guthan set or something, right? I really like that about RuneScape.
Future that personally I would love to do again. Firelands, the Throne of Thunder. I like Nighthold as a raid a lot. Storimar was the best open world city Blizzard have ever done. The Timeless Isle was a lot of fun when it released, and so on. And many players who have played World of Warcraft.
Timeless Isle was one of the best pieces of content World of Warcraft has ever had. I'm not even a mop guy. You guys know I don't like mop, but Timeless Isle was actually fucking goated. That was such good content. That was such good. It was like a little diamond in the otherwise fucking pile of shit as far as I'm concerned. But it was good. It was really good.
Warcraft throughout the years will have certain bits of the game that they will want to revisit again. I do think without a doubt Classic Plus is the best long-term option, and I mean long-term, like having Classic be relevant many years from now. But at the same time, I think there's going to be enough demand for the likes of Cataclysm, Mop and so on to do them again.
I would rather have Classic Wrath Plus than Classic Vanilla Plus. I'm going to be honest. I think Wrath is a better template for Plus content than Vanilla is. Classic Wrath Plus, I sincerely think, is the way to go if you want to do that.
For that option is
100.
seriously considered.
100.
All in all, though, I've always believed that Blizzard would do Cata and beyond, and I want to say, here it is in writing, they're just figuring out the details now. Who knows what Blizzard devs read on various content videos like this and posts, but do drop your thoughts down below about the survey, what you did and what you did not like about Cata, and what you would ideally like to see after Wrath concludes. That's everything for today. Thank you all so much for watching and listening in, and I shall see you all on the next one very soon.
Nice one, WillE. I love it. Nice one.